Hello and welcome to this new episode on the channel. So I have been absent for a while. Yep, so that happened. I had some my reasons, and well, I was working on a lot of different things, helping people, such things. But I'm back. And that's the important thing. So, regarding this video, like what am I going to talk about? Well, I mean the title is gonna give it away already. But I mean, so I'm gonna talk about the shadow, the anima, and trauma in that regard. So, well, where to start? Well, I mean, if I think about where to start with regarding to this topic, I really think that it starts with the animus, like the relating function. It really starts with that, because I mean that's really what it all revolves around regarding trauma, and also then like the shadow. It's pretty much really the relating function. And so what I want to talk about in this video is just that it's like how trauma affects the relating function, and also in a way shapes your shadow. So I want to start off with some personal examples in regards to that. So, well, when it comes to me, when it comes to me and who I am, like what has shaped me into the person I am today, and really influenced my this really influenced my relating function, is like a lot of pretty much traumatic events that happened to me in childhood. And it's really those things that for a very long time left quite a mark on me. So it kind of what happened with me pretty much is that well, I mean, the situation was this: I was getting as a little boy, I was getting bullied, and the thing is that they would tease me, but also would hit me and things like that. And the thing is that it took a while, and then eventually I made some friends, and then one really important friend was actually one girl that would stand up for me. Even though, I mean, looking back at it, like, you know, as a guy, one could say it's an emasculating experience, but that's not really, I don't know, the way I really frame it. But she just was someone that actually just someone that cared, and she tried her best to help me and kind of just be there for me in a way. And I would like, well, sometimes also just go to her place, hang out, such things. And in that sense, she kind of formed that, like, well, that, I don't know, like a protective parental type of figure for me. Something that at the time I felt like I didn't really have at my own home situation. Like, well, I didn't really feel like I could go to my parents when I was a boy. One of the reasons for that really, which I really started to, like, well, understand see more when I was like a teenager, was that in a way I was afraid of my dad, and that fear of my dad made me not go to my parents, because I knew that my mom would tell anything to my dad, so I couldn't go to either, because then I don't know, like I was just scared that he would get angry, and I was afraid of the anger, and in that sense afraid of my own anger, which, you know, formed, which started to form a part of the shadow that I had at the time, when later on really caused me to lash out and have a temper as well. So then, because I pushed that entire capacity of being angry into the shadow and standing up for myself in that sense as well. But then the thing is, like, I don't know, like the bullying started like roughly when I was like 5. And then around the age of 10, I switched schools, and just a bit before that, the girl that was actually standing up for me, what kind of happened was that she died in an accident. So for me at the time, what kind of happened was that the figure that I had, that was like a, I don't know, like some form of parental figure in a way that would, like, I don't know, like care about the young me, was suddenly taken away, and I didn't really feel like I could go to my parents nor anyone else. So then I became completely lost and resentful at the world, and yeah, and it eventually, like, drove me into depression and all kinds of other things, like including becoming quite anorexic as well. And the whole, the biggest thing with that was just an overall fear that I had with connecting to others. The fear of being rejected, but also the fear of that, especially after she died, that something bad would be happening, and I associated myself with, started to associate myself with, like, I don't know, like a bringer of death and misery, and I just wanted to be alone, and that is what I did. I pushed people away. And that's really what I've been doing for what I had been doing for the most part. And then yeah, I mean, and then going back to the bullying in the beginning. I mean, there was an element of it also. Like they were teasing me with one of the names that they were calling me was Robin Hood. and that's like a fox, and like the fox one became associated with that, like the outcast, because well, that's kind of how I felt, the outcast, and in a way, it started to become a role that I took on as well over the years, like kind of that. I mean, in a way, it's why like the Discord server is called the Fox Den, and why a lot of other things is going on too, with like foxes and things like that, and like I don't know, in general the outcast archetype. Well, I don't know. In a way, I kind of have a soft spot for like such people as well. Like I want to try to help them because I see myself in them. But yeah. But coming like back to that with the shadow and the relating function. Over what kind of over time happened is that I started to, well, I know I pushed my anger away, so that happened. At the same time, I really pushed people away as well, pretty much out of fear, and would like say and do things to basically self-sabotage as well. And yeah, but in the end that like actually led me down quite a dark path, and yeah, and then I started to be worried as well if I would punish myself if I would mess up, and then like by not eating and all kinds of things like that, and and yeah, I mean, I just kept quiet about it for a very long time, like a really long time. Just didn't say anything, and just kind of just suffered, and started drinking in secret too, and then eventually came home at my parents' place, like totally drunk. A couple of times, and then at the same time I actually started to become interested in like witchcraft things and all kinds of things like related to the occult, and that's actually how I came across Carl Jung eventually, and like how I started to become interested in him. And then over the years, I started to like dig deeper and deeper into different aspects of myself. It was like digging into the shadow and trying to do things with that. And in a way, I kind of wasted years trying to understand the shadow and like understand all of those things, other people as well. Like and for a time. Well, technically still kind of being depressed myself, try to help other people that were depressed, trying to like, by helping them, try to help myself, and just surround myself with it really, in like a, I don't know, like pretty much trying to like solve my own issue that way, but it didn't really get solved though, and that's one thing that I came to eventually, because I started to have like from a certain point on, when I was like dealing with the shadow, I got to the point that I actually started to have dreams about the Anima. And she would appear in dreams to me. One of which she led me out of my bedroom into a forest where she was waiting for me. But then and then she would show me things in multiple dreams. But the thing is that I was just analyzing the dreams, but I wasn't really doing anything with the relating part, like externally. So it then came to the point that she actually became just, I guess, frustrated because I had a dream that she was like hunting me down. And she tried to just forcefully sacrifice me onto a dead tree that then came to life. And like after that, I started to dive more into the Anima, really. And eventually I got to the point that I started to understand that actually is the relating function that is important here. That what happened is that like the entire way how I was relating to the world got messed up by the things that happened, and I was stuck in those cycles that I would just like continue to interact with. And at the point when I started to become aware of those cycles, that is when I actually some light. It's getting dark. That is actually when I started to really get progress, because then I started to dive deeper and deeper into the things that happened, the way I relate to the world, and like what shaped me. And then I started to really look into like my personal myth in a sense. Then I started to look into Dionysus and now more into like Robin Hood as well, and there are different archetypes as well that popped up, like the magician, the shaman, and such things. And really, what I learned along the way is just that, I mean, pretty much that those things in the past really like shaped how I was like relating to the world, and that I needed to like clear that I needed to work through it and like release all of those emotions that I suppressed, because over the years I didn't really let myself feel anything. And the thing is that by not letting myself feel anything, I just bottled all of those emotions up. And it was also, in a way, by what I was doing, pretty much avoiding that what actually would bring healing. It was actually to confront what was going on. And it was in the end by confronting what was going on that I actually started to get actual progress with regards to healing the connection with like the relating function. And it was scary at first, like it really was. And I just did it anyways. I just dove into the shadow more and more, looking at the relating function instead of just what happened to me, and and instead of just like the darker side of myself, and like the anger that I integrated. I mean, I did those things before, which helped me in some way. Like, it gave me the courage to dive deeper. And to like eventually gave me the courage to actually get out of my comfort zone and to face that what like traumatized me initially. And then and then I needed to just face that. But the important thing, though, what I learned with facing that, is that in a way you really need to do it with the proper with the proper person, so that you can really learn that the whatever happened to you in the past is something that that isn't the entire spectrum of possible outcomes. That me constantly anticipating rejection, for instance, and then acting accordingly, created rejection, and that actually taking the courage, like just being courageous enough to just sit there and just sit in that fear and just let it come over me, and then by letting it come over me and let all those emotions and all those past attachments go, and just let the like really that what had formed, like the complex that had formed, so let that die, to really like let it lose its grip over you over time. I mean, it took a while to get to that point, and a lot of interactions with different people, but the thing is, with the right person, that then shows that they do care, it started to become better. It really did start to become better, and that is why being in like a community like that is what is really important, because you can have your one-on-one sessions and you can be told a lot of things and you can be artistic and do a lot of things alone, but in the end, to heal that, if you're dealing with trauma like that, you need to interact again, and to go out of that comfort zone, and to put yourself in that position again, even if it's scary, and just do it anyways. And by repeating that over and over, you get to the point that you're basically reprogramming yourself, and you're teaching yourself that you don't need to be afraid that you're going to be rejected, and that not everyone is going to reject you. But the thing is, some people will. And the thing is that, but that's the thing of life, there is a risk to it. But the thing is, if you want to live, it's a risk worth taking. To reach out, and to just be yourself, be authentic to who you are, and risk being rejected for it. 'Cause the thing is that not everyone, like, it's not gonna work out with everyone. It just doesn't. Not everyone is gonna like you. But the thing is, just keep doing it, and you'll find your people. You will. Like how I find my own group of people, really, over time. And the same holds true for you. It is easy, though, if you deal with if you're dealing with it and you don't have the community, and you just deal with one person, and that one person basically turns out to be the type of person who would hurt you all over again. That's gonna really like catapult you back like put you into that position again. And that is actually one thing that happened to me. And it's like and then well, really like when I started to build that community, then things started to improve. And the thing is, because you know they then showed me that yeah, not everyone not everyone is like that, and like it's fine to be yourself. And if you're searching for that community, or if you're searching for it, for something like that, just make sure to check out the Fox then, to just check it out, because whatever is going on in your life, you're welcome there, and we'll try to help you. I mean, if it's not for you, you can always leave. You're free to leave too. You don't have to be there. But yeah, I just wanted to just mention that as well. But that's my cat. Lol. Zuko, come here, boo boo. Yeah, now come. Yeah, come. Yeah, you wanna be on camera? Yeah. Zuko, come. Yeah, you wanna go and be here. You want the kudos. Little Zuko. Little Zuko in the kudos. Yeah, that's my cat. Say hi, Zuko. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but now getting back to what we were talking about regarding like trauma and such things. You know, that's then the thing with like for instance with me, what happened with at the end. But you know, there are many more many more stories out there from like, you know, like with different people that I talked to over the years, and like everyone has like their issues, and like whatever really the story like is with you, like what happened, and what I can say other than like well, finding that like community, like wherever it is, and like really digging into like the relating function, and like how that really was shaped by everything what happened, like how you are, how that you are, and like why you react the way you do, you know, and then face those things. Other than that, what was I thinking? What is important also is to just is to figure out that story, like, you know, like to really go through it. And that's what I really started to do then by just talking to the people. Eventually, like, my story started to take shape, and I started to figure out like kind of what happened. And it is why like the story of Dionysus really like stood out to me. I'm gonna link it in the bio below that story. But yeah, that's like really what like stood out to me, pretty much. And well, finding that story is like a really big step too, in like really like diving deeper into the relating function. And there are other ways also, like how you can. There are also other ways how I can like dive into that, other than just literally writing down your story and the things that happened, and like write about it, like let's say in a journal, or just talk about it over and over, or whatever it is really what you're doing. What I started to do is actually I started writing a fantasy story about well, little me, and like how I was reacting, and like the world, how it seemed like to me, like, and I put it in like a dream world state, and then I really started to write about it, and writing about it in like such a creative way was also like a really healing thing to do for me. Well, next to me writing the book that I was writing at the time as well, that I'm still writing on, with regards to, well, really like my view of society, and like and the different all the different estates, and like how things like connect together and all of that. But that is pretty much me really trying to figure out the way of like how do I relate to the world, what is my view of things, like my own view, not like the societal view, nor of my parents, or like those around me, but like through that kind of like I started to also notice all kinds of different things about myself as well, because I would write things, and then later on, months later, I would read what I wrote, and I would be thinking like, wait, I wrote that, and then I just read that, and I was like, holy shit, that just makes so much sense now. Why I was writing that the way I was. Because then, over time you learn more, and then you just read that again, and then you're just like, oh wow, that the way I'm thinking, like, like the like an example was one thing had to do in like the initial form, had to do a lot of things, had to do with control, and like controlling things in society, and it like that got like completely dropped. But eventually I got to the point that I like got like, wait a second, that's because of my own insecurities, my own fears, that I actually started to, well, that I really acted in that way, that I felt that need for control in the first place. And then eventually I became more and more to a point that I just let things flow how they are, like a more, I don't know, like a Taoist way of looking at things, I would say. And I didn't want to force things anymore. I didn't want to be a general. I didn't want to be like a king or anything, like forcing like anything at all. Just let it be, let it flow, and I just figured that for whatever reason that just works, and not just in the world itself, but psychologically it's really healing to look at the world in such a way, and play with the world in like a more playful sense, which is also something that I started to integrate over time, like a more like trickster, playful sense, which is something that I also pushed into the shadow as well. My like really playful side, I was way too serious on left brained in the beginning. all about like ideological things, and I was way too much thinking about all kinds of things, and involved in like the whole like culture war thing and all of that, and then I got to the point that I started to understand like how things really are, and how all of it is on both sides formed by different forms of trauma, and just like the different ideologies just basically amounting to different I don't know, you could say coping mechanisms for dealing with certain mental things that you're kind of like compensating for. And that in that way, I mean, if you're like my it's probably my personal bias here speaking, but I don't know, like I don't really feel like I'm part of any particular like I don't know, like tribe you could call it, because I'm just like going around and I'm part of all of them. And I can just I'm just myself, and that's it. And I just say what I do, and if I'm welcome, I'm welcome. If I'm not, I'm not. And that's just how I do it now. But I mean, if I compare that to the past, I mean, my past self wouldn't have been able to deal with that at all, and all of the the things that would contradict my beliefs and all of that would send me really would send me in like I don't know, like a spiraling rant. But now, yeah, now it doesn't get to me anymore, and it kind of also gave me some form of like patience with people, and no matter what the fuck they believe, just patient and can just see. And if I can help them, I can help them. If I can't, I can't. And that's the way it is. But yeah, but in the end, really getting to that conclusion is whatever your story is, you have to figure it out. What that is, what happened to you, why you're reacting and acting in certain ways, and like through that you will start to be able to actually heal a lot of things that one would say are contents of the shadow. But I mean, are they contents of the shadow, or are they contents of the anima or animus? It's kind of a blurry line between the two, because I mean, the thing is that like the relating function and the shadow can't really exist without each other, nor can the ego self without the shadow, and they're always there, and it's like a continual dance of you going through the motions and dealing with different aspects. But you know, over time, when you're going through it long enough, you'll start to get to the point that like a lot of like past things have been dealt with. But you know, the thing is, life continues, and there's always some new thing that's gonna happen, something new that could cause some form of trauma, and whatever it is. But you know, then it's just a question of dealing with that as well. But, you know, you don't have the tools for dealing with it. You can give yourself those tools. And with regards to those tools, I mean, I really recommend going over to the Jung To Live By channel and look at their work with regards to the anima and the animus and the shadow, and like, you know, the relating function and how that works. Because and I used to watch like different channels about Jungian things, and eventually I came to certain like I don't know, like conclusions with regarding to like how things seem to operate over the years. And then I came across like Jung To Live By, and what I can say is just that pretty much what they've been saying is really spot on. But I mean, then again, I mean, they have 40 years of experience. I mean, I don't have that much experience compared to them. I mean, they're really the experts. But yeah, just go check them out if you haven't yet. It's really gonna be worth it. It's gonna really catapult the amount of growth you can do. Next to like, well, what I'm gonna like continue to talk about, like the different topics and the different videos that I'm making. 'Cause, I mean, obviously I have my own view, but that's something nice to complement it with. And they have like a massive library of videos too, so you can really like kickstart your process. But yeah, so but yeah, that's pretty much it for now. I hope you had something with regards to this, like like you learned something from listening to pretty much, well, my story and how I started to look at things and what I figured out, like how things come together. Okay, so see you foxlings later. Alright, bye bye.